Hello and welcome to Tapping Tips. My name's Katie Walker. I'm an EFT trainer, mentor and practitioner. And this week I wanted to talk to you about how we can continually be using EFT to help to calm our nervous system. So we can continue doing and being and ensuring that we are in as regulated state as we possibly can be for all number of reasons, from our mental and emotional health and well-being and our physical well-being. When we have a regulated nervous system, it helps with our immune system, our digestion, our respiratory system, our endocrine system. So by being able to continually check in and notice what's going on in the body, it's really, really important. And EFT is an incredible tool that, as I'm working and showing you how to use it in the space that you can see how it can calm the body down. I caveat that with, if there's known or suspected trauma, or you're just finding that there is a continual thought or feeling or emotion you're having, think about working with a practitioner who can help you to see what that's connected to and how you can best work with that. But I just wanted to work with something that happens every day. We have stresses and triggers coming in. That might be from the people that we're around, the job that we do, the news that we're seeing, the news that we're listening to, the things that we're seeing on Facebook, Instagram, all of the various social media platforms. And that can actually really create a sense of dysregulation in the body. And so how would we work with that if we're going to be, let's just assume we're thinking about what we're seeing in on a social media platform. And you might see something that actually from that visual cue, you have an internal response of or madness, sadness, anger, whatever the emotion is that shows up when you've seen something on Facebook. So yesterday that happened to me. I don't know if it was Facebook. It must have been Facebook, or it might have been LinkedIn. So let's just assume that it was Facebook, and it was actually a fairly distressing article. Now, it stressed me. It was a trigger for me. So I know what I'm talking about in terms of that particular article. It might not have actually been a trigger for you, for example, but something happened within my body that I knew that if I didn't do something with it, that could have disrupted my whole day in terms of me being then very productive or being able to connect with people. It could have really had a detrimental impact on how I showed up for that day, for yesterday. So here's how we work with it. And I actually did that in the moment yesterday, but again, just to show you how it works for this particular purpose, I'm going to talk about it from the past, as in yesterday I was actually tapping in the moment, like I saw it, felt the ride, and I just started to actually tap on all of the points as I was saying that, because I was immediately triggered. But if that then had a loop effect and I didn't do something with it yesterday and I kept having the visual pop up, my body's still feeling like it's going into that activated state based on the image that was stuck in my mind that kept looping. If that was the case, then every time that happened, we're going into a sympathetic activation and the nervous system is responding to that. So I want you to think about something that you've seen or you've heard in the last 24, 48 hours to a week. So just pause for a moment. I just want you to think about it. And we are seeing stuff fly in from just so much information, again, on all those social media platforms, TV, radio, conversations. But I just want you to take a moment and think about something that you may have heard or seen in the last 24, 48 hours to a week. Just write that down, what that was. And notice when you think about it, are you still noticing a charge of some sort? We're going to go through that process if you've been following my tapping tips on what that looks like. So thinking about that thing that you saw or that you heard. So we want to know when it was, what was in it, and what about that What about that is actually still causing you to have an activation to that, a response to that? So for me, thinking about yesterday's article that I saw, I actually, in this moment, I don't feel anything because I did tap straight away. So I now can see it, but there's nothing happening for me. But let's say there was. Let's say I was still feeling this gross. It was gross. It was gross. That's all I can say about it. So I would rate this gross feeling 0 to 10. And the reason why we measure it is just so as we're tapping, is it coming down? Are we focused in on the right thing? It really speaks to, is the tapping working? So 0 to 10, gross feeling. Let's say it's a 5. And then I go, am I feeling it anywhere in my body? Let's say I'm feeling it in my chest. I'm feeling it in my chest. So we have the thing from yesterday, which I know what it is. And I'm just going to say, even though thinking about that article I saw, but you might want to add a little bit more to that. So even though thinking about hearing that news of X, Y, Z, for me, I can actually add, even though thinking about seeing that article on Facebook and the look on his face is what is the image that keeps popping up in my mind. So I'm getting more specific. And so that's the thing. The emotion is gross. It's 5 out of 10. I'm feeling it in my chest. So once you've written down the thing that you've seen or heard, the emotion that's showing up in the here and now, can't do anything about the emotion that was what you felt in that moment. 0 to 10. How intense is the emotion? Are you noticing it anywhere in your body? And here we go. So we start tapping on the side of the hand, and this is where we're stating what's going on. We're stating the emotion, the situation, and even though there's that, we can still accept ourselves. Even though this thing's going on, we're still okay in this moment. Okay, so even though I feel this gross feeling, and I feel it in my chest, just thinking about what I saw on Facebook yesterday and that look on his face, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Or I accept this is how I feel, or I'm okay in this moment. If I deeply and completely accept myself doesn't land with you. And even though I have this gross feeling and I feel it in my chest, just thinking about what I saw on Facebook, that article and that look on his face, I just have this gross feeling, but I can still deeply and completely accept myself. Let me say it one more time. Even though I have this gross feeling and I feel it in my chest, just thinking about that article I saw on Facebook yesterday and the look on his face, I can still deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, and then we go to the top of the head, and this is where we're repeating the emotion. This gross feeling. That's my emotion. Start of the eyebrow. This gross feeling. Start of the eye. This gross feeling. Under the eye. This gross feeling. Under the nose. This gross feeling. Under the lip. This gross feeling. Collarbone. This gross feeling. Under the arm. This gross feeling. And then I come back to the side of the hand and I think about yesterday and seeing that article on Facebook and the look on his face. And I just notice what's happened with that gross feeling, or that feeling of anger, or that feeling of sadness, or that feeling of madness, concern, worry, frustration, irritation. What's happened with that? So if, for example, it was still a gross feeling and it had come down, sometimes it can go up, because as we're tuning in and really focusing in on this thing, the body can have an increase in the intensity, and that is okay. So you just keep the same words, the same emotion, and if it's still in the same location in the body, but again, just notice, maybe it's shifted from the chest to the stomach, solar plexus, throat. Notice what's going on. Having that awareness of what's going on is really, really important. And you're just going to set it up again. So even though I still have this gross feeling, maybe it's changed to my stomach and I feel it in my stomach, thinking about that article and the look on his face. Or what could happen is maybe the intensity is now on the words of the headline. I can see the headline of whatever the thing is. Just again, really focus in on what it is. I can still deeply and completely accept myself, even though I still have this gross feeling and I feel it in my stomach. Now thinking about the article I saw on Facebook, but the headline's bold and the words, what I can see, I still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I still have this gross feeling and I feel it in my stomach, thinking about the article I saw on Facebook and the bolded headline and the words of that headline, it's making me feel this gross feeling, but I can still deeply and completely accept myself. Top of the head, this remaining gross feeling, side of the eyebrow, side of the eye, this remaining gross feeling, under the eye, this remaining gross feeling, under the nose, this remaining gross feeling, under the lip, this remaining gross feeling, collarbone, this remaining gross feeling, under the arm, this remaining gross feeling. So I'm sticking to the one thing, the thing that kept, say for example, it kept having a loop in my mind's eye, and I was noticing an activation in my body. The emotion was still there. That is why we're going to use emotional freedom techniques to actually release that energetic block, release the emotion. Can't take away the article and what I saw, but it's how the body is responding to it. Because when we're in an activated state, we then can't think, because the part of our prefrontal cortex goes offline, supports that activation, and we can't then do what we need to do. We can't show up for the people we need to do. We can't focus on our work. It can really take over whatever the situation is. So just know, using emotional freedom techniques, we can regulate, we can ensure that we are able to keep functioning. And so these tapping tips are to show you, if we're working with things that are impacting our day-to-day lives, again, caveating that with, if it's linked to big stuff, work with a practitioner. But the day-to-day stuff, our triggers, our stresses that do show up, we can use this day in, day out, in the moment. If you're at work, you can take yourself off into the bathroom. I actually now just tap it wherever I am, really, but that's because I've been doing this for a long time and I feel okay with that. That's my tool. It's like someone sitting there and taking some breaths. Mine is tapping. Or, in yesterday, I was looking at the article and I was tapping. So I was neutralizing what was showing up for me in that moment. And that didn't stop me then from doing what I needed to do. But I know historically, if I had seen that, that could have stopped me in my tracks and I wouldn't have then been able to do what I needed to do. So I hope you found this useful. If you want to know more, please reach out or go to www.katiewalkereft.com or hello@katiewalkereft.com. If you're interested to know more, I've got a range of tapping tips that I've previously done. Please go back and look at those. They may be very useful for you, or keep watching for future tapping tips. And I just try to show you how you can incorporate this into your day-to-day lives, just so we can try and have that sense of calm and that peace and just systematically work on stuff that's showing up. So have a great day and take care.